Hi everybody, it's Chris from Evermore Podcast, your Newcastle United podcast, and the Evermore YouTube channel. We're back with another Rumour Has It video where we're looking at some players who've been linked to the club in the summer, and we're going to go into the striker category now because there seems to be a bit of movement with the Ekitike deal and movement that isn't particularly a good one either. So we're going to get stuck into this new player in a minute who seems to be catching the eye for a new target, or possibly he's always been the target, but Ekitike jumped to the front of the queue, and now that deal's looking like it's pretty much dead. So it's time to look at some of the targets. So just before we do, we're going to get stuck in a second, a little bit of housekeeping. If you haven't already, please consider clicking that like and subscribe button. We're past, I think, 1,030 subscribers now, or 1,130, beg your pardon. Cut myself 100 down there. So yeah, if you can click that button and come and join us, we've got loads of content coming over the summer before the new season starts. We'll be back with a weekly podcast as always. And we've got loads coming, so make sure you join in the party. So listen, let's get stuck into this player. As I mentioned, it's kind of bittersweet, really, because the Hugo Ekitike deal seems to be dead, really, after we did a video of a deal done. It's more like deal dead now. It seems greedy agents have kind of scuppered this deal. Ekitike agreed to come. He agreed personal terms. We agreed a fee with Ream. And it looks like that the agents apparently thrown in some extra demands and costs, and it's kind of screwed the deal up a little bit. We don't know for certain it's dead, but for all intents and purposes, it's looking that way. So we're going to move on to some of the targets. James did a video for Brozier, which was a really good video. Obviously, Chelsea want mega money for this lad, So we're going to look at this other target as well, who reported fee, I believe, is he's valued about, I think, 45 million euro or something. So the player we're going to be looking at, just to bring up his stats here, and I'll just get rid of the logo so we can see him in a bit more detail. So the player we're talking about here is Amine Gouiri. He plays for Nice, and he's a French under-21 striker, and he is a very, very talented player. 22 years old, so he's a very young man, very similar to Ekitike, who I think has just turned 20. So he's a couple of years older than Ekitike, but the lad's got a lot on his locker. He's got a real turn of pace. He's got quick feet. He finds space. He can skin a player. He can whip the ball in. He can cut inside and smash one in. So he's a very, very talented player. Overall, he's got 22 goals and 72 appearances for Nice in total since he signed there in 2020. So he definitely is a very talented player, and I think he's the kind of player that could really play well in our setup, either in a front three or even off the front with Callum Wilson as opposed to instead of him. And obviously, if he gets injured, Callum Wilson, which seems to be a regular occurrence, unfortunately for him, Gouiri could possibly step in as the striker. But you can see Mark's highlighted some of the stats there. His key stats is everything you want in a striker. It's finishing, it's dribbling. He's good at passing, he's good at key passes too. So if you look at the stats there, obviously this is per 90 minutes over the top 5 European leagues. Goals, he's scoring a little bit on the low side. He's 0.33 goals per 90 minutes, which obviously isn't as good as Callum Wilson. And just looking at the kind of goals that he scored, I think he got 12. He got 10 goals in 38 games last season. So he's not prolific in terms of appearances to goals. I think he's very much more of maybe an Iosi Perez type striker, really, which to be honest with you, we could probably do within the squad. Like I say, he could play with Callum Wilson, or he could play in a front three with him. So assists, he's very, very good. As you can see there, he's 0.29 assists a game. He's kind of in the 92 percentile. So he sets up a lot of goals again, which means he could play really, really well in the front three. He's right-footed as well, so it'd be a nice balance. You could stick him in there, header, maybe Fraser around the run on the right-hand side, with some Max on the left, and I think that would give us a real deadly front three as well, to be honest with you. In terms of his shots on target, you can see there he's pretty good at that. With 45% of his shots he takes, he gets on target. So he's in the 84 percentile. His dribbles, he's very, very good. He's 3.5 dribbles a game in the 91 percentile. Same with dribble completion, 70%. Pass attempts, 92 percentile. Pass completion, 88. And key passes, he's 1.7 key passes a game, 91 percentile. So he is a very talented player, and at 22 years old, I think his better years will be ahead of him, really. So, I'm all in favour for signing this lad, to be honest with you. I think he's a real talent. It just depends on obviously what kind of fee we can negotiate with Nice for. But I think the Sven Botman deal has showed everybody that this club are really good at negotiating. We were all kind of questioning whether they had it in their locker to do it. Obviously now Dan Ashworth's in there as well. We seem to be taking a no shit approach with these clubs being greedy, and agents like Ekitike's agents. So this could be really interesting if we move on to this lad. So you can see from the heat map there that Mark's bashed up that he spends a lot of his time kind of on that right-hand side of the park. You know, he kind of hugs that touchline. He does like to play out wide. So for me, I don't think he's an out-and-out striker, even though he's deemed as a striker. I think he's more of an attacking wide player, really. So I think he could give you a bit of flexibility in that forward line. Mark has compared him there to Callum Wilson, as you can see. Obviously, Wilson, you know, scores higher than him in terms of goals, and obviously in terms of goals to shot ratio, but everything else, you know, in terms of assists and passes completed and creations, you can see that, you know, Gouiri's obviously way ahead of Callum Wilson, and that, which to me means he's more of a creative player than an actual goal scorer. So, you know, that's probably a really good striker for us to buy as an option there. We'll just come off his stats. So, you know, for me, Callum Wilson's a goal machine. He's the man. He's the number 9. He scores goals. That's what he does. He's very good at it. Gouiri could come in and obviously play in that front three, and he could play as a striker when we need him to, with a little bit of pace, a little bit of movement, give us that little spinning off the last man, getting in between the lines, you know, like Callum Wilson does, because Chris Wood can't really do that. So if we were to sign this lad, you know, and then obviously have him, Wilson and Wood, we've got a nice blend there of striker and attacking talent that we can put at our disposal. Obviously, Gouiri can play in the front three if he turns out to be a very, very talented player. You know, we're still very much in for Moussa Diaby, I believe, as well. I mean, there was talk of Rafinha. I did a video for Rafinha the other day. Looks like he's Chelsea bound. I don't think that's a good move for the player. I think Chelsea's a kind of club that can ruin players like Rafinha. I might be wrong. He might step up. He might do really well, but I think that's a bad move for Rafinha. I think Newcastle would have been a better move. I really do. But, you know, listen, you know, you win some, you lose some. If we get Diaby, I'll be more than happy with that. But let us know what you guys think about Gouiri in the comments below. We'll love to hear from you guys. I think he's a very talented player. I think a lot of people are big fans of this lad. I've seen a few comments on previous videos about him. And yeah, I think he'd be a fantastic player. I think it's only a matter of time before he gets a full French cap. He's come right through the levels. I think he's got 10 goals and 20 appearances for the under-21s. So he's getting better and better. He's getting sharper and sharper. And I think coming to the Premier League really could be a good step for him in his career. But let us know what you guys think. If you think Gouiri's a good signing, you know, if you think maybe Broja will be a better job because he's Premier League experience. But it's certainly looking, for all intents and purposes, that we're moving away from the Ekitike deal because of greedy agents, which I think is a shame for Ekitike. But you know, we'll move on and we'll look at other targets. You know, we're all buzzing because the Botman deal is done and dusted, so that's really, really good. We're hopefully going to be back with an Evermore podcast tomorrow, which will be Wednesday. Probably by the time you see this video, it'll be tonight. So hopefully we're going to come back just for a little bit of an update. Really, there's been a few things happening. Obviously, transfers, deals done, sponsorship deals. You know, training ground being waved through and everything else. So we're just going to have a little bit of an update episode, I think, just to have a bit chat, and that'll be live at 6:30. So make sure you join in the comments there as well, guys. But as I mentioned at the start, if you haven't already, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Would love to have you on board. We're looking for as many subscribers as we possibly can to help the channel grow and help you bring more content like this. So until then, this is Chris signing off. Let's keep supporting our team, McCoy United, and we'll be back with another transfer video soon enough. We'll catch you later. Cheers.